Hi, I'm Beatriz Pinto, and this is Your Journey at Sonae, the brand new podcast powered by the minds behind the Young Talent community. Every month, we'll meet a Sonaer that will talk us about the ins and outs of what it's like to work here at Sonae, and above all, talk us about the journey, theirs and yours. So stick around. So today we are here with Miguel Tolentino. Miguel Tolentino is the head of group people and culture at Sonae Capital.
That's correct.
So it's our amazing Sonaer that it's with us today. And so if you work at HR, so your day-to-day work is just to pay the salaries of us all.
No, fortunately not. Although paying salaries in a rigorous and time-wise way is very important. It's one of those basics that if you don't get well, nothing else matters. But fortunately, those green, gray HR personnel departments that we had in the past are not with us anymore. So I think every day HR is being more considered as not as a support role or support function, but as a business one. And at Sonae, I think that positioning in HR has already several years, and I think that's one of the reasons why I steered my career towards HR. HR seen as part of the business, part of the team, and having a sound voice in the strategy and in that business, what makes HR much more rewarding and challenging.
And in every business, the heart are the people. So if you don't have a team that is close to the people, what are we?
That's correct. But I think every company says that people are at the core. But for some, it's like a cliche.
Yeah.
And I think at Sonae, we really believe and we really act on it. So it's exactly like that.
So Miguel, I already know that you like jazz music, but I don't know much. So who is really Miguel?
So I was born in 1973, so 49 years ago, here in Porto. I am the son of two engineers. My mother used to work at the port line company, and my father worked for a reasonable portion of time at Sonae. So you might say I was already a Sonae fan before joining Sonae. I'm happily married with Ana. I have three kids. So we have three kids, Tiago, Maria, and Margarida. What can I say? I love sports. I play football. I run. I have some sailing classes, and I love music, and that's correct. Jazz in particular.
So, and regarding Miguel here in Sonae, how do you feel you fit in our culture, in this environment that I'm really happy to be part of? How do you fit here?
Well, working here at 26 years from now, I think I would have significant problems if I wouldn't feel really matching the culture. I think I always felt very comfortable at Sonae. Comfortable because I'm really aligned with the way we work, with our values, our culture here, but also very challenging. And I think Sonae...
That makes easier, of course, if we already live by the values that the company has. It's really easy to make it.
It is, and one of the things I seek, and one thing that I think is part also of my not my values, but my way of working, is looking for change and looking for progress and to move on and having different challenges, and that's also a part of Sonae. And if you have that alignment with the way of working here, with the culture, with the values, that makes change much more easy. And I think that is very rewarding and very helpful.
Regarding your background, what did you study? Did you picture yourself here in a company as Sonae or working in the HR area? Talk us a little bit about what you studied for and what you are doing actually today.
Okay. So my basic degree, academic degree, is in economics at the Faculdade de Economia do Porto. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to be when I was a kid. I think all those...
It's a very hard question.
All those classic ones as really young kid, as a policeman or astronaut or cowboy, probably I've been around that. but I was not very sure of what I wanted to do. And I chose economics because I wanted to work in business, in companies, not being a teacher or usually working on the public sector, nothing like that. And I wanted to have a broad set of opportunities and be where things were really happening and trying to be part of that and making part of the decisions, all of that. And I thought that by the time that economics could give me that option. And then when I was finishing my degree, I applied to Sonae as part of the Contacto program that was already existing by then. And when I had my first interviews, I was not mentioning HR and I was not thinking HR at all. And I was mentioning some totally different things as more financial roles and
more related to economics, more related to the background specifically.
And it was the HR person that was interviewing me that challenged me to go to a different part of the company and to marketing and sales, and in particular to communication. And that is also a very interesting part of HR, the way you can lead, affect, impact the people's career. And then I joined the marketing department of Sonae Distribuição by then as a trainee. By then, food retail, specialized retail was altogether at Sonae Distribuição, and I had my training there. It was very interesting times. I had an amazing opportunity because we were starting a project, two projects in reality, with some external consultants. And I joined one of those teams. So I was working as an analyst. There was a set of external consultants and me. The only difference was that they went back to their office on Fridays, and I kept on my office at Sonae. And we were studying the opportunity of launching the first loyalty card at food retail.
Big project.
It was a big project and a very interesting project.
Cartão Continente.
Exactly. And that was probably one of the bases of Cartão Continente. Although the decision by then was not to launch at that time. So have everything prepared, but not launch at that time. And it was also a very important takeaway for me that you have to create the distance to have a clear decision and not being too much emotionally involved.
So impulsive in the decision making.
And it was a great project. Then, by then, the Sonae telecommunications part was building up in what drove us to launch Ótimos.
Right.
And we were doing the internal recruitment for the teams, and I was challenging to move into the telco sector. And I did that, and I was part of the advertising department, and it was amazing because you were starting in a company that had no one. It was based mainly by external consultants when we were applying for the bid to launch as a mobile operator. And then we had to build a company
from scratch.
From scratch in few months. We had the license. I think it was November, and by August we had the obligation to launch the first commercial product, and to start a company and to start a brand from scratch, from non-existing to one of the top advertisers, one of the top of mind brands in Portugal. And really feeling that you were changing the way people were living, because by then, for you to have an idea, out of every 10, only 2 people in Portugal have mobile phones. And nowadays, more than 10 have mobile phones.
We have like twice per
and machines have the SIM cards, all of that. And to really feel that you were changing the way people were living was an amazing project. Then I had different roles at Ótimos. It was the name of the company, now Nós. And there was a moment where I had to make a hard choice. I had lots of fun in doing advertising, and I think I did it rather well. But I had to choose if I wanted to be specialized in advertising or to move on to a different role for a more generalist career. And I decided to move, and I had different roles within Ótimos. Most of them in marketing and sales, so as product manager, leading product departments, more analytical ones, buying handsets with all the providers, all of that. And in one of those movements, I had the chance to try HR. And it was really a surprise because I never thought of HR as
focused on sales, marketing, and then
Totally.
HR. I don't have sales to deliver.
And it was a challenge that was presented by the company. They came into me and said, we have an opportunity here that I think we need you, or that we need for you to move into this role if you agree. And I think it could be interesting for
you and for your
So
path, for your journey.
HR, and I said HR, no idea of HR, but anyway, if you think I can be helpful and if you think I can help and it will be good for the company, count with me on that. And I had that opportunity, and it was much more fun and much more rewarding than I was expecting. But then I came back to marketing and sales roles.
So, Miguel, just to sum a bit, so you started in Sonae Indústria. Distribuição, sorry. Sonae Distribuição, then Ótimos.
Exactly.
At the center of the technology, building everything from scratch.
Yeah.
Then a project in HR.
In HR, also at Ótimos, at Sonae.com with other companies aside from Ótimos, yeah.
From analyst to sales, marketing, HR. So we already covered a lot of different areas in a business.
Yeah.
And it took, we are talking about the time frame.
We are talking from 96, the end, the year I've joined Sonae, until 2010.
Okay.
By then I had also a surprise, a different challenge, that was to move into a temporary position here at Sonae to do PMO, so to manage a program or a set of projects, if you like. And it was also very interesting because I was already asking or willing to move, but I was not thinking of this area. And it was very interesting to have this challenge of doing something that was a bit different, but I had some project management before in these experiences. But I think it was very curious because it was this temporary position. So they gave me, you have a mission. It will take you more or less 1 year to do it. And in the future, we don't know.
And it was a chance to learn from another thing, to try a different way of working.
And to know different Sonaes, because it was a set of projects that were meant to be transformational, and were cross-business. So we had to work with Sonae Capital and Sonae Indústria and Sonae Sierra and a lot of Sonaes that I didn't know. And it was very interesting, and we launched a set of things that are still base of the way we do things at Sonae. For example, the key, what we call key HR processes, as the improving our people, our performance appraisals, performance reviews. We define that by then. Our way, we define that by then. The improving our work, so our lean methodology, we define that, and it's still on nowadays, and it was very interesting to do that.
So great projects that today they are still being used. So and after the PMO part of your life, what have you?
Well, that temporary position was within HR.
Okay.
So when the project was already coming into an end, I started to do some HR positions. I had one for a short time in analytics, and then I had the opportunity to move into HR director, if you like, for Sonae Specialized Retail, the holding where we had by then Vorten, Sportzone, Mo, Zippy, afterwards Lausanne. It was very interesting because it was a big company, 9,000 people. It was multinational. We had people in Portugal, we had people in Spain, we had a small office in Turkey. And we were building the department not from scratch, but almost. So I had to join the team to create the process, to learn the business, and to create the culture of managing the people as we would like to do. And it was also very, very interesting.
What a journey. If we were talking about journey, and this is a chance to understand more about the journey of our Sonaers and our young talents, this is quite a zigzag, as we call it here, journey. But we asked you to bring an object that reminds you this pet, this amazing pet that you have. So what have you brought to us, Miguel?
I brought Our Way. So the little books that we have defining our culture, our way of working. In its first version, now it's the Spanish one, and the most recent one. And why did I choose this to bring? Well, this represents the culture, no? And culture was always very important at Sonae. By the time that we were doing one of these Vidago projects, that was the name we had for this program, Paulo Azevedo, that was CEO by then, decided that he wanted to materialize this way of working in a document. So one of the projects was to set up a team and to develop this little book where we had our definition of values, how we manage people, how we lead, how we run our business, our Bible. And then afterwards, in last year, I think, Claudia Azevedo, CEO, decided that she wanted a refresh, an update on that. And one thing that I really value this is because it expresses the importance of the culture for us. I think, as I said, I've moved to different positions, to different sectors, different companies, and we have different cultures in all of that. That's normal, or different.
You have different variations,
but we have a common ground for everyone, and I think that makes one of the strengths of Sonae and why it is so easy to move between these different roles.
Brotherhood. We are different, but at the end, our DNA has a lot in common.
A lot in common, exactly like that. And I chose this also because I had the opportunity to be part of the team of the first version and also on the second version, and I was really pleased and really proud to have that opportunity to give my small contribution to this.
And this version has how many years?
This one is from 2011 or 12, I think. So quite a bit already.
Quite a bit. Now, Miguel, we have here a bit of not a challenge for you, but I think it will be a very interesting moment for you because we are talking about people, and especially in this last phase of your life that you were more in the HR, so people, but we wanted to know what people thinks about you. So we went and talked with two colleagues of yours to know what they think about you.
So another surprise.
Another surprise. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay, so we are listening to Mariana. Then you can guess which Mariana is, but I think it will be easy for you. Let's hear what she has to say.
I've known Miguel since 2012, from being single to being married, to having no kids to having 3, so for a very long time. When Ruben asked me to describe Miguel, I started laughing. So here it goes. 3 things in which he is terrible at and 3 things in which he is great at. 3 things Miguel is awful at. 1. Handwriting. Never ask him to write down anything. His penmanship is the worst ever. I eventually got good at this superpower, so sometimes he would ask me to read things even he couldn't decipher. 2. Keeping up with emails. Having hundreds of emails to read is something normal for Miguel, so I stopped sending emails and started writing on his walls with permanent markers. 3. He's great at everything else, so there is no point number 3. Things Miguel is great at and lessons I will never forget. 1. People. For Miguel, people are always first, even if that means putting things off for a few hours or days. Making people comfortable during a decision-making process is always more important. Every stakeholder has to be part of the solution. 2. Simplify. A problem is not a problem. Slice it up, think it through with someone else. His door is always open for brainstorming. 3. Responsibility and freedom. Miguel gives you plenty of it. Go for it if you have any doubt, or if you fall flat on your face, he will always be there to help you get up.
What do you think about what Mariana just said?
I feel embarrassed.
You don't have reasons to.
No, but I think she was very nice. But I think we always had a very good relationship, very trustful one, and we worked together very very well. But I'm very glad that I left a good mark on her opinion.
Definitely. And we have another audio to show you. This time is Guilherme. So let's hear it.
I met Miguel in 2004. He was the HR hiring manager for my first job. And that was the start of our professional relationship, which has been going on since 2004. Over those years, I've worked with Miguel in several roles in several companies. I've also moved within Sonae companies, so that makes it easier to follow Miguel around. And over those years, things have evolved into what I can proudly say today, into a friendship more than a professional relationship. And that, I think, says a lot about Miguel. And one thing I would say, just as a summary, is that I have yet to meet, and I doubt I'll ever meet someone who has worked with or met Miguel and does not have the highest opinion of him, both professionally and personally. And that is something rare. So I think that says a lot about him.
They are two kinds. But it's, I think Guilherme is right. I think I'm sure for now we are friends, and that's a very good thing. There are a lot of friends that I have that were people that I met at work. And of course, we don't have to be friends to work well together, but if we can,
and we spend more
great.
time here at Sonae than we spend at home. So why shouldn't we have this kind of relationships with our peers?
And it was very, very interesting, the experience with Guilherme, but because, as he said, I was working in HR at Optimus by then, and I did the interview of Guilherme, and when I did the interview, I said, I think Guilherme would be good in this kind of position, and the opportunity we had was in a different role, but in a few years he moved into that position and was really good at it. So again, one of the interesting part of HR, trying to find the best fit for everyone to make people develop,
and also the organization,
of course,
to optimize our resources. And we are talking about the organizations, but the organizations have now or are facing a really big challenge because the way we work is changing. We had a pandemic that changed the way that we worked for years and years. Mm-hmm. So we went home. So we have now home office versus going to the office. We have a lot of technologies emerging. Do we need people to do this kind of job, or does a robot fit in that?
The automation part of it.
The automation. Yeah. So, what do you think? What is your opinion on this subject? How is the future? How do you imagine the future of work?
Well, things are changing a lot, and quite quickly.
Definitely.
I think there are some mega trends that are really impactful on the way the organizations will work. The technology part of it, it is impressive the way technology is developing and changing the way we work. I remember when we went for the COVID, when we went home, there were some people at Sonae Capital that didn't use Teams, and now everyone and people spend more time in Teams than in Outlook or in PowerPoint or Excel or whatever. Technology is driving us too fast or not too fast. It's driving us fast in different ways of working and even on the relationships between people.
Maybe we should already be there, but the pandemic forced us to.
Yeah, it was a great unblocking of all of it. The demography is also a mega trend that I think will change how people work, the companies, also the targets and the business, the products and services they provide. All the importance of analytics on the
How we use the
decision making, on the way we operate. The climate change, I think, is also a mega trend that is really impactful. And also the inequality that we have nowadays in the world, I think, will be every day more impactful on the way we work. The way I see this impacting on organizations, that what we feel, I think it's not a feeling, it's a fact, is that cycles are getting shorter and shorter. Things are moving really fast, and those companies that have a recipe for success and don't move will be over very briefly. So companies will have the need to readapt
really quickly,
to transform, to react very, very quickly. And this probably, or for sure, not probably, for sure, will demand different teams, different ways of working, different ways of looking at strategy and looking of the operations, and these skills within the culture as a whole. So I think this will bring an even more challenging role to leadership. This will bring an even more challenging role on the learning skills of everyone. This will bring a more challenging on the culture of cooperation, adaptation, teamwork, agility, if you like, as a whole.
And you already touched my second question. That was, what skills do you consider are most important in this new environment that we are facing for the organizations? And what kind of skills do our young generation need to improve in order to succeed in this new era?
I think one interesting thing is that things are not being substituted. They are adding up. They are piling up. And so you needed all the skills that you had, and now you have to add up the technology and the analytics and the digital and all of that. And I think one interesting point for people is that that idea of learning a skill and performing that skill for all your life is gone.
It's gone.
Not anymore. And this capacity of long life learning and constant transformation, I think, will be every day more common. And I think this skill of reinventing, rethinking, redoing things, learning how to do new things and forgetting how to do the things we used to do in the past will be a very important skill, and not only a skill, a very important attitude that people will need every day more and more.
Right, definitely. This capability to adapt very quickly and adjust and change, career change area, marketing, sales, then HR,
Exactly.
It's what will define.
Exactly. And when you look at people, you have all of this combined with the demographic part of a very much longer lifespan. So we will live longer lives, we will work for longer periods. With things changing more quickly, we will have to learn to do different things and to reinvent ourselves more often. And I think it's very
interesting.
It's very interesting for us and very helpful for us to have that sense and have that conscience very clear.
Definitely. Now we have a question here, is that what advice would you give to the young generation to join us here in Sonae today?
Okay. So the first will be apply to Sonae.
It's necessary.
After that, I think the new generations are already a lot in this new mood, and the things I would advise, I think they already have it, is to be challenging, to be demanding, to be ambitious, to be bold.
To question.
I think that is very important. To question, to question, why do we do these things like this? Why can't we do it in a way? To try different things. I think that is very important. And I would really advise people to to think of their career as a vehicle. I don't know, it might be a bicycle, a car, or a plane, depends on the speed you want to take, but to think of themselves as in the driving seat, holding the steering wheel, because sometimes with time, I think people start to go on a more passive mood and to sit on the passenger side. And
you command your journey.
That is never true, and that never helps. We command our journey, and we have to. We might not know exactly where we want to go, but we need a rough idea at least, and we need to be certain of each step that we take, and it's up to us. I think that's the thing. And one thing that we say for a long time at Sonae is that the owner of your career is you, and your boss is there to help and to challenge. HR is there to help and to challenge, but it's really up to you. And I think that's the more helpful advice I can give, is to have that clear sense that it's really up to you. And so you have to move on and feel in charge and leading the way.
That's very interesting, because actually people tend to put the pressure on HR. HR should do this, HR should have this or have that, or my leader or whatever. But really we need to make sure that we are on our path to reach the next step. And then as you said, maybe sometimes we don't know where is the end, but we know our next step at least.
Exactly. And another thing I would say is that when deciding the next step, more important than the role, more important than the paycheck and all of that, I think it's really people liking the place where they work, feeling aligned with the way of working, the values, as I mentioned before, the culture, liking the people with whom they work, their boss, their peers, maybe their reports. It's really very important to have people that you respect, that you trust, that you can learn with, and working in an environment that is doing the right things, and that gives you a chance to do your stuff, leave your mark, lead the way, and
have responsibility
and freedom. And hoping for impact. And I think that is very important, more important than the formal part of it.
Definitely. And nowadays, I think it happens a lot that people move from job to job. They really like what they're doing. They are learning a lot, but they move just to earn a bit more. And sometimes they go to a project that is not that interesting or doesn't fit as much as the previous one.
Yeah.
So, Miguel, we are now reaching the end, but we still have here some fast answers. So I will ask a lot of questions, and you need to give me a fast answer. So as simple as this. Sonae is?
Bolt.
Sonae's best memory?
People.
A book to read on holidays?
Blink from Malcolm Gladwell.
A song to listen during work?
An album. Beyond Mysterious Sky from Pat Metheny and Charlie Hayden.
Jazz.
Exactly.
An idol or reference?
Mandela.
A motto?
Also from Mandela. May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears.
A curiosity that nobody knows?
It's a secret, probably. I don't know.
It's still a secret. The greatest success?
I don't know. Maybe the next project I will have.
Great answer. The biggest failure?
It's gone. Moved on. Learned from it and moved on.
The most extraordinary learning or teaching?
The importance of people, and that really everyone can have an impact.
So you passed our fast answers. Great job. We are now almost at the end, but now I have one last question, and I promise, Miguel, this is really the last one. So, what legacy would you like to leave here?
At Sonae.
At Sonae.
Well, difficult
in the world. You can answer in the world.
I would not go that far. I don't know. I've been working at Sonae for 26 years now. I would like that in 26 years from now to still see Sonae as challenging, as bold as I said, as demanding, as ambitious, as restless as we see it nowadays. And I would like to see Sonae doing this with that set of sound values, strong culture that we feel every day working here. And if people could remember me as someone who really was part of that journey, that really helps to make it as it is, as it will be in 26 years from now, that would be very, very rewarding, and to feel that people with whom I've worked with feel that I really gave my contribution to their development and to make them good, complete professionals and persons. That would be very rewarding also.
Great. Thank you, Miguel. It was really a great pleasure to have
pleasure
this,
was mine, Beatriz.
This chat with you. I learned a lot, so I'm guessing you did too. So thank you, and see you next time. Bye.